Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Opinion Machine, the show where we talk about all things gaming. My name is Killjoy, and today we're going to be numbering the new Smash stages that got added into Smash Ultimate from number 15 all the way to number 1. So essentially, a while back, probably about 3 years ago, 2 years ago now, I did an entire video on ranking the Smash Brothers stages from the base game. Now, there are a couple of levels in here that are from the base game, but this is just covering the 15 new stages that have now come into the game, and I'm going to give you my opinion on what I think is the worst one, and which I think is the best one out of just the new stages that were implemented. I'm basically doing this on the presentation of the stage, the music that you get with the stage, and generally just the overall, like, either gimmick, mechanic, or just interesting part of that. So yes, this is completely and utterly my own opinion, but that's what we're here for, right? So let's start things off then. Let's start with, and we're going to go in order. We'll start with number 15. Where are you? Here we go. Number 15, Yggdrasil's Altar, the Dragon Quest stage that got added in. Honestly, the stage itself isn't that bad. It's quite nice visuals, but the music really lets this stage down. Honestly, Dragon Quest music, from everything that I've heard, it really sucks. And I think that's kind of harsh to say, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that really like Dragon Quest music, but there is no, in my opinion, there's no good tracks on this stage. I really don't like playing on this stage at all. In terms of it being fairly interesting, it does change up its platforms, which, you know, is fair enough, but yeah, the visuals are nice, but they can be a little bit distracting. But generally, the music is what really lets it down. And I will say now, music is heavily weighted for me, because that means there's a good selection of tracks. I love playing on stages where there's loads of good music, and unfortunately, the Dragon Quest stuff kind of sucks. Even if they only had like 4 songs and they were already good, it definitely wouldn't be this low down. But there is not a single piece of Dragon Quest music in Smash that I enjoy, and that really hampers my experience playing on this stage. And that's basically its biggest reason for being at number 15. Following it up, probably going to upset some people, is Northern Cave from Final Fantasy VII. Out of the 2 Final Fantasy stages, this one is just... it's really boring at this point. Like, for a stage that... I know it's meant to show off a very specific part of the game, but like, I really thought Sephiroth would be like come with some crazy stage, and then kind of what we've got is just a very basic stage that tells a story in the background. There's nothing fancy about the stage at all, and it's just, I don't know, you just can't expect a villain to have a much more interesting stage than this one. And I'm sure for a lot of people it makes sense, because, you know, again, based on the part of the game from Final Fantasy VII. But while I actually do like the music selection that got added here, the stage itself, to me, is incredibly unmemorable. I'm like, I forget about this stage most of the time until it comes up, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is a thing. Sephiroth, great. Music, great. Stage, I don't remember the stage at all. There's nothing here that, you know, I care about. I've not played Final Fantasy VII. I don't care about the story, so having that play out in the background does nothing for me. In fact, both of these stages, 14 and 15, unfortunately, are quite busy in the background, and that kind of hampers from, you know, trying to play and stuff. But yeah, the 2 RPG that people absolutely love, they're going at the bottom of this list, unfortunately. Next up, we have the Great Plateau Tower. Now, if you remember rightly, I actually said this is one of my least favourite stages back in my original video when I was talking about the stages and ranking them then. It's not as bad as the other 2, I'd rather play on it, but this is still a stage that I think could have been so much better for a Breath of the Wild stage. It's pretty. You get an amazing selection of music, but that's about it. It's a very basic stage. There's nothing that interesting or exciting about it. It's fighting on a great plateau while out overlooking the entirety of Hyrule. Sure, you can smash the big dome and it'll turn into platforms. By no means is it a terrible stage to fight on. It's just, for a Breath of the Wild stage, it feels kind of uninspired, but then again, they might have only had so much to go on when they were making it. But I do think it's quite a boring stage, and that's really its biggest problem, is it's quite boring, unfortunately. So it does drop there to number 13. Going forward then, we have the, where is it? There it is. The Amishamer Dojo. I actually like the design of the stage, and I actually like a lot of the music. And I think it has a cool gimmick where you can break open the walls and then kick people out, and the blast zones are very close, so you can die quite quickly on it. It's just it's just a flat stage, really. Like, you have the walls, which are fun to bounce people off of, and you have the, like I said, the really good music, but overall, it essentially just is a flat stage. There's nothing that's super interesting about it, and I know certain people absolutely love flat stages, and there's nothing wrong with that, but yeah, it's just, I feel like Tekken has so many cool like backgrounds and things, and I get that the dojo is a really iconic place, but like a platform, anything, something to mix it up. But I guess for the fighting game levels, they kind of keep it fairly flat. Ryu's is probably the only one that isn't necessarily, but King of the Fighters, which we'll get on to, and obviously this one, they're fairly flat stages to kind of mirror those style of games, I guess. But yeah, good soundtrack, cool gimmick for when it's there, but definitely, I don't know, I just think some of the DLC stages have felt a little bit lackluster, which is unfortunate. It's just that, I don't know, maybe I'm expecting too much, but I like it when stages do something different or move around or a bit more fun and interesting, and this one has an interesting gimmick with the walls, but other than that, there's nothing else there. Alright, moving on, we then have, and this is going to upset a lot of people, I know, we then have Hollow Bastion. Hollow Bastion is essentially a Battlefield clone with one platform on it. I do like the fact that this stage, when it flies around, will eventually go into the, I've forgotten what the name of the actual area is, but you know, the black area with the big circle in the background with people on the back of it. Very cool element, actually, really, really cool. The downside is this stage, there's so many things they could do with Kingdom Hearts, and I think Hollow Bastion makes sense, but again, the stage itself isn't that interesting. I guess I put it over the Amishamer Dojo simply based on I probably like more of the music from Kingdom Hearts, but still, I just feel that DLC stages in general, like some of them were just a little bit, we've had stages like this before, like we've got, you know, Town and City and things like that, and even the Pokemon stadiums which don't have that platform in the middle, but just a lot of these sort of stages can get very samey, and this doesn't do anything unique except for when you get down to like one stock and you end up seeing a different background, which is kind of nice. But yeah, it's just a simple stage. The design of it is nice, and the music is obviously good, but other than that, it does nothing for me. So there you go. That's my first 5 there. Really, except for the Great Plateau one. That's 4 of the DLC stages that are okay. Like the base roster of stages, the ones we've been fighting on for a while, so far definitely feel a lot better than these ones. I think it might not be the worst stage, but Idris's Altar would be right down there for me. Probably just above Prince Star Depths. That's my least favourite stage. So, alright, moving on. Number 10. We then have King of Fighters, or King of the Fighters. I can't remember the exact name of the stage. This is a fun stage when there are a lot of people playing on it, but this is also a kind of a weird one where you essentially have a flat ring, and people are going to be like, well, why did you put, like, you know, this stage above Hollow Bastion? And that's because this stage has some phenomenal music on it. Some of the stuff I absolutely love. I actually really like the design of the stage, and I do like the fact that you have to punch people through the blast zones. It has a really cool, unique mechanic. Yeah, the stage is flat. Like, that's not, it is just a flat stage. But the fact you can bounce people off the walls a few times, that animation of when they blast through the walls never gets old. It's really, really cool. And it has some interesting, it's like an interesting gimmick going on there. And I think that puts it much higher up than these other stages. And it's just, you know, when you play on it, you forget about it and you go, oh yeah. And you're like bouncing around a lot. And maybe the ceiling's a bit too high on it. But other than that, really fun stage. Really fun gimmick, fantastic amount of songs, fantastic soundtrack, and yeah, like I'd rather play on this than the other stages. That's simply what it comes down to. But that wall bouncing mechanic really is the thing that won me over. Alright, next up we have quite a stage that I quite like, Spring Stadium. The Spring Stadium is kind of interesting because it is essentially the same as, or you could say that Hollow Bastion's based on Spring Stadium in the sense that it is a platform with a small platform above it. But what I like about Spring Stadium is it has that gimmick of the bouncy pads, and that's really fun. I like the fact that you can actually KO people with it. You also have the crossbar at the top, which you can bounce off of, and that makes it's got a little bits of elements. There's enough here to make it far more interesting than most of these other stages. Yes, it's your generic platform with a platform in the middle. But then you've got the spring pads that pop up from left to right, the ones that are down the holes, you've got the middle one that turns into it, and you have the ability to smack people up in the air and then be saved and tech off of the crossbar that's there as well. Fantastic. Very simple changes, but enough little things in this stage to make it really fun. Really like this stage. Fantastic soundtrack again. That Arms theme remix really helps sell this stage. And overall, I think just having this kind of nice, easy stage to fight on with those added benefits of being able to recover easier, be able to bash yourself off the ceiling, save yourself, you know, tech and things like that. Just a simple idea with the right kind of additions to make this a fun stage. Alright, after the Spring Stadium, we have Maureen Towers. Now, Maureen Towers is a weird stage. I think everyone who's played on it gets, you know, you do that thing, you got to attack someone, you run down the ramp or up the ramp. I think it's down the ramp most of the times. And it's a baffling stage. But to be honest, it's so unique that no other stage plays like this that I do enjoy playing on it. It is a hard stage to fight on. It's not the most practical one. It's not a stage... If I was picking a Splatoon stage, this was not the one I would have gone for. I would have gone for the oil rig, or I would have gone for the skate park one from the first game. But I do like the way that this works. The fact that you will attack and run up, you know, run around, and you will always go down on those platforms. And you have to jump to get back up. It makes for some interesting whiffs. It makes for some interesting games. There is the bit on the right that you will die very easily on as well. We're getting smacked off of. But generally speaking, it's an interesting stage. There isn't another stage like that, and that's the kind of thing I like in Smash. I like the stages that are more unique. There are some that... I do like some of the more basic stages, but this one, I like the fact that you have these platforms that you can just run up, run down, and it's... Like I said, no other stage has that. On top of that, the incredible soundtrack that the Splatoon games has, and the visual style. This is definitely one of the better stages in the game, in my opinion. Alright, after that, we then get Cloud Sea of All Rest. One of my more favourite DLC stages. I really like. It's a tiny stage, but visually it's really nice to look at. Very nice for one-on-ones, quite basic. I literally got this as I was playing Xenoblade Chronicles 2, so there is a little bit of bias there, especially with the music selection in this level. Oh my god, is the music good. Now so here's the thing, right? I'm sure the Dragon Quest games have good soundtrack, have good music. This has fucking phenomenal music, and this is what the kind of music that's on this stage. I would have loved to be on this one. If that was the case, Idris's Ultra would be straight way higher than it is. This is just, visually it looks nice. I like the fact that it's a basic stage. You obviously have Gramps' head move up and down and left and right. They can change up how the level is. It's a very minor thing. The soundtrack is really good, and it's just an easy stage to fight on. You have that single platform. You can definitely get fucked over by the stage, but I think that's kind of part of it. I quite like the fact you got to recover and your head turns away. You're like, oh great, thanks Gramps. Basic compared to some of the others, but visually far more interesting and not that distracting either, which is what works nicely on it. So yeah, that combined with the soundtrack, definitely one of the better stages that have been added in with the DLC. Alright, next up, this will probably annoy people, but that's okay. Garrick, Mack Monastery. You know why this level's interesting? Because it's a moving level, and each section is different. You've got the beginning section when you're in the market, you then have the section on the bridge, you have the beginning of the market, then you have the bit inside the halls with the chandeliers, then the bridge, and then the very end part with the extra platforms. This is just a far more interesting stage than most of the other ones. Like the fact that it does pick itself up and move around, have those flying sections. It's a great stage to fight on, it's unique, it's varied up. The music is really good. Say what you want about Fire Emblem content, the soundtracks are usually absolutely bangers. And the fact that you do get these 4 sections to fight in, you know, you're in each one for what, a minute? And each one has something different. So the first stage you have the kind of like the houses either side, you can break one on the left, and the next section you have the chandeliers which you can get on top of. Section after that is just a flat bridge, and then the final section has extra platforms. It's just variety. There's like, I love stuff like that, and it feels unique being set in this big monastery as well, which is really cool. And compared to the other Fire Emblem, to be fair, the Fire Emblem stages in this game generally are a lot of fun to play on, but this one is probably the most unique one compared to Colosseum and I can't remember what the other stage is called, probably the other Colosseum level, but yeah, coming in at 6 there, then Garrick Mack Monastery, definitely one of the more interesting stages for the DLC. Next up, we now have a Spiral Mountain. Now, this has one of the most unique mechanics in the fact that the stage actually turns 360, or the, you know, whichever direction that is. No other stage does this, and when it does turn, it adds in certain platforms, it takes away platforms, you can recover in different spots. Yeah, the stage can be, at times, feel quite small, and other times it feels quite big, like you have the bridge at some points. This is just a very creative level. It has a unique mechanic. It feels fun to fight on. I'm not the biggest fan of the music, but, you know, I can get behind the silliness, the cartooniness of it. But the actual stage itself, the way that the stage is presented, no other stage does that. And for that alone, it already goes up. Visually, it also looks really nice. But Banjo did really well with his stage here. This is the kind of stuff that I like. This is the problem with, like, the stages that are lower down, especially Sora's stage, and I know they were kind of limited to it because Disney's involved. You know, you think, Christ, Banjo-Kazooie, they really went to town. That's like feels like a stage they went to town on, really interesting concept, versus Sora or versus Northern Cave, where it's like, they're okay, but I guess, you know, each company's going to be different and, you know, decide where they want and how they want the stages, well, what iconography can be used. But yeah, Spiral Mountain, very unique. No other stage like it in the game. Absolutely fantastic. Right, coming in next then. So we go, we're getting down to the wire. Mementos. As much as I hate, oh, I don't hate, that's far too strong. As much as Joker might be one of my least favourite characters in the game, like, he just doesn't, I just find him really unappealing to play. Mementos is colourful. Soundtrack for the Persona games is fucking phenomenal. So not only is you got this colourful level, you got great music, you got the unique mechanic where the stage will change as well, colour, depending on what music's playing. You have the trains come in from different sides, you have these walls come in. Like, again, like Spiral Mountain, like one of the earlier, or the first DLC stage, far more interesting than some of the later ones. Like, not every stage has to be completely chaotic, but the fact that you can have walls come in from the three sides, like I said, you get the trains come in. Just a really cool stage. It has a lot of personality, a lot of colour, great music, and, you know, I do think out of all the DLC stages, bar one, you know, this is one of the best ones they put out. And quite frankly, like, you know, it's for the first one. I know they kind of went big or go home with Joker and sort of thing. That's how it feels. Anyway, this was a fantastic stage. I know a lot of people were concerned about getting Mementos as a stage because it's not that interesting, but they did a really good job of making this feel like a really good stage. Absolutely fantastic. Alright, next up, Minecraft World. You know what, I'm not the biggest fan of Minecraft. I didn't want Steve in Smash. However, this stage is awesome. This stage, it has the changing of the different biomes. They sometimes have different platforms. One starts with a house on it. Like, I love stages that do this. This is incredibly unique in the sense that you have destructible bricks that then make the stage either flatter or with platforms. The only other stage I can think of, I think there's one other stage that's similar that lets you switch between, I can't think which one it is right now, but basically Minecraft World is just, it looks, of all the things about Minecraft, this looks the best thing about Steve in that package, right? And I will say the Holland Darland, whatever it's called, that remix is awesome. It's one of the best remixes in the game by far, and yeah, just honestly, like, this stage, while I'm not a big fan of playing Steve, I love playing on this stage. Like, not all the music choices are great, but the ones that are really good are really good. And the fact that it is destructible, again, very unique. I think it's like 5, 6 different biomes that can potentially load up, and that's really cool. And yeah, I like the night and day cycle, and there's a lot of stuff going on in the background, but this stage works really well. This is a lot of fun. This is the kind of thing that I like in a stage. Very creative. Basic flat stage with just some creative bits going on there with different platform layouts and things like that. Like, awesome thing. And as you will notice as well, that is the last of the DLC stages. So, in my humble opinion, we have the two last stages being Drax Castle and New Donk City. Basically, I think that some of my two favourite stages that were new are the ones from the base game rather than anything DLC. But I will say, these three, Minecraft World, Mementos, and Spiral Mountain, these three are easily the best DLC stages to play on. They feel like the most fun, they feel like the most creative ones. And the other ones, like, they are good, like Garrick, Monastery, Cloud Sea of Orest, great, very fun. Arms one, kind of basic, but has a cool, like, gimmick. King of Fighters very flat. I think it's these ones down here, the ones that I'm like, yes, people are going to enjoy them. They're quite simple stages, but they don't have enough unique flavour to them, in my opinion, to really make them shine above any of these other stages. Whereas Minecraft World, Mementos, and Spiral Mountain have some really unique mechanics, and that's really what I wanted from the stages, to see things be mixed up. Anyway, number 2, number 1, what's it going to be? Right, number 2, Dracula's Castle. I love this level. This level is awesome. And the reason why it's so fun is it's designed to look like the final level from the final boss from Castlevania 1. You have some of the best music ever written on this stage as well. Some phenomenal remixes. You've got a lot of music. The design and look, the very gothic look of it is awesome. You then get the bad guys in the background with Camilla and Medusa and the werewolf and Frankenstein's monster and stuff. Fun to fight on. Crazy with items, because you obviously can destroy the candles and stuff as well. But like, honestly, this is just so well designed, so well put together, like hits all the right boxes. And honestly, if it wasn't for New Donk City being my favourite, like this would easily be my favourite. But I love Dracula's Castle, it's fantastic. And then last off, New Donk City. Start at the base of the city tower, go up a level, and then repeat, or if it's twice to an extra level, I can't remember. It's hard for me to put anything above this. This is a stage that everyone and my friends seem to really love. We really enjoy fighting on this stage. The platforms shift as you go up the tower, then resets. There is so much. You've got the entirety of the Mario library of music, and you know that's got some of the best music to fight along to. It's kind of hard for me to, you know, say anything bad about this stage. I love it. I like the uniqueness of, sometimes you got the left side of the building, sometimes you go up the right side. It kind of varies depending on, you know, what gets picked. Like I said, the music, just honestly, like, fantastic stage all around, and unique enough, and inspired enough. Like, it has a nice look to it, very well designed, very clean looking level. And honestly, this and Dracula's Castle, probably two of my favourite Smash stages ever. They might not be, they're not my number one ones, but they are two of my favourite ones, without a doubt. You know, and there we go. That is the top 15. Sorry, that is the 15 new stages that have been added to Smash Bros. Ultimate, and that is my opinion on what order they are. So going from bottom to top, we have Idris's Altar. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Northern Cave, Great Plateau Tower, Amishamer Dojo, Hollow Bastion, King of Fighters, Spring Stadium, Maureen Towers, Cloud Sea of Orest, Garrick Mack Monastery, Spiral Mountain, Mementos, Minecraft World, Dracula's Castle, and then at number 1, New Donk City Hall, I think is what the actual level's called. I'm sure people are going to disagree massively on this. I like my stages have, you know, like I've taken into account the music, the uniqueness of the stage, the sort of how the stage looks, and this is how I feel about them. I know that people that love Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest are going to hold these stages probably in high regard, but unfortunately these two stages are probably some of my, I think, some of the most boring stages in the game, unfortunately, whether that be the music in this one or just the layout of this one. And you know, same with Sora's. I do feel like they could have been done some way more interesting stuff with the Kingdom Hearts there, but I get it. But yeah, there you go. There's my list on the stages. If you disagree with me, feel free to write comments down below. That's totally cool. I'm very curious as to what people think about these new stages. Try to keep it to the new stages, because like there's no point bringing up saying, oh, I think this is better or this is better when it's already a base level stage. This is just the new ones that were added in. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. As always, if you liked the video, hit like. If you want to see more content like this, hit subscribe. Links for Facebook and Twitter will be down below in the description. And until next video, I will see you then.